During this unit, we're going to talk about body image and self-esteem. Even though in previous units we've discussed self-esteem, we're going to discuss it in the aspects of regular physical activity and proper nutrition. The first thing I want you to consider is we're going to go through a series of questions, and I want you to jot down what you think the appropriate answer is. So you're giving me a percent of what you think relates to the questions. So, question number 1. What percentage of high school students exercise to control their weight? So you can put A, 1 to 20%, B, 21 to 40, C, 41 to 60, D, 61 to 80, or E, 81 to 100. So again, question 1, what percentage of high school students exercise to control their weight? Question number 2, what percent of high school boys are trying to lose weight? Question 3, what percent of high school girls are trying to lose weight? Question 4, what percent of high school boys are actually overweight? Question 5, what percent of high school girls are actually overweight? Question 6, how tall is the average model and how much does she weigh? Which will refer to the next question. What percentage of women have a similar body type? And question 8, how tall is the average woman and how much does she weigh? So for 2 of those, you'll answer the question accordingly. And then we'll give the Michigan answer and we'll give the national answer on the next slide. As you see, when we look at the data for Michigan, our percentages are relatively high. We're looking at 65% of students use exercise to control their weight, 30% of boys are trying to lose weight, 60% of girls, 15% of boys are overweight, while 10% of girls are overweight. So we look at, even though lots of people are trying to lose weight, not that many actually need to. Number 6, the average model is 5'10 and weighs 110 to 120 pounds. 7, only 4% of women have this idealized body type, which means we're talking about natural body. Very few women have this body type without them having to worry about eating disorders or unhealthy patterns of exercise or diet. And the last one, the average woman is about 5'4" and 142 pounds. So we're looking at average compared to an average model, and there's a drastic difference between the two of them. And actually, for most of us, number 8 is a healthy body type for a female. Now, when we look at national answers, we see that it's about the same. Obviously, 6, 7, 8 are all the same answers, but Michigan doesn't fall too far away from what the national standards are. All right, so the next 2 things we're going to talk about is body type. So I want you to take a moment and jot down the answers that you think to these 2 questions. Number 1, what factors can you control when it comes to your body type? And number 2, what factors can't you control? I'll give you a moment, jot those down. So now what I would like you to do is discuss as a class and create the list of these 2 questions. Once you have it done, continue with the video. All right, so what factors can you control? Big ones, food intake and physical activity. And can't control, we've got a list of height, age, sex, growth spurts, genetics, and body frame. So just to go on a couple different things, we're looking at, with age, we start at about 8 pounds at birth, and then we gain weight rapidly until puberty ends. So puberty ends around the age of maybe 15, 16 to 18, depending on how early you start compared to how early you end. Girls tend to start puberty earlier and end earlier, while boys start later and later. When it comes to your sex, males tend to weigh more than females because there's a greater bone density and greater muscle mass. Growth spurts during puberty. Many children eat more and store extra fat before they gain weight. So we'll notice that there's a fluctuation in weight, and we can't control that. Our body needs to go through its proper changes. Again, taller people obviously tend to weigh more than shorter people. Genetics plays a big role. Some of us are slimmer than others. Some tend to be a little bit rounder. Again, look at your parents. Look at their active lifestyle and see if you're similar to them. Or if your parents have to be really active to maintain weight, you might have to do the same. While others, your parents may not be so active but have a healthy weight, but we still want to make sure the insides are healthy. So we want to make sure we're still eating the right food and exercising, because even though we might look thin, it doesn't always reflect the same as what's going on physiologically. Body frame we just talked about, with thinner or smaller bones versus bigger. We can control food intake. All right, so obviously I can eat everything I need to eat. I can eat less. I can have portions. I can eat too much. And then activity level. So physical activity burns calories or burns energy, and calories are energy. So the more physical activity I do, the more energy I need to participate in those activities. So if I eat more, I should be more active to maintain a healthy weight. If I eat less, I don't need as much activity, but I still need that 60 minutes to maintain a healthy body. All right. So we're going to go over what these mean, and we're going to kind of talk about them each independently, because this is one of those things that we can't necessarily control. This is what we look like. So when we talk about these, a lot of times we've referred to the apple versus the pear, and each of those have benefits and have problems. Now, if I'm within a healthy weight, then it doesn't matter what shape I am in. If I'm not considered obese, about 30 pounds overweight, I'm considered healthy. So we'll see like V shape tends to be with males. So we're looking at really wide shoulders and smaller hips, so big torso. When we look at the hourglass, we tend to see this in females, so smaller waist with bigger hips and bigger breasts. With apple, we usually see in males, and again, this is wider within the hip and stomach region. Females can also be this way. As we gain weight, some people gain weight with this shape as the other two. The pear, spoon, or bell shape we see again in females with higher, bigger hip area, wider than the upper body. Again, this isn't too unhealthy as long as we have a healthy weight. So again, we look at, are we carrying a lot of fat mass around us? And then that rectangle shape or banana. So this person is the hip, waist, and shoulders are all relatively the same size. So once you have those, you can kind of, and I want you to figure out, or if you write these down, circle which one you believe you are. And if you're unsure, look at your parent as well, the one that you look the most like, and determine which parent has this category. And if you look most like them, your chances are that's your shape as well. Another way to categorize ourselves are ectomorphs, mesomorphs, and endomorphs. And these tend to be how we gain weight or don't gain weight. So to give you an explanation, so we have ectomorph, so it's that first one. And these people generally are tall with thin, long arms and legs. They might have trouble gaining weight and muscle no matter how much they eat or train. So this person can't gain anything, whether it's fat or muscle mass. This body type and then we give examples. So you could be ballet dancers, long distance runners, basketball players, but again, small portion of the population has this body type. So this is the least common. The next one is a mesomorph. And this is people who generally are more muscular and shorter. Stocky arms and legs. They tend to be strong and gain muscle mass with strength training. They might have more trouble losing weight though. This person tends to be good with power sports, softball, soccer, gymnastics, sprinting, track and field. And the last one is endomorphs. So endomorph is a person who generally is shaped like the apple or pear and carry more body fat. Their bodies resist losing weight and body fat no matter how hard they restrict their eating. These people are better to handle long periods of starvation and famine due to their metabolism slowdown during restricted diets. But that was a benefit back then. These body types excel at distance sports and events and weight training. So each of these have their pros and cons. And learning to know which way your body is helps you be able to be a healthier individual. So what we know now is that we have these different body types. And it's a good thing. But because we don't always look like that model or that guy in the magazine who's ripped, we tend to have a different view of ourselves. So next we're going to go over a couple of questions and we're going to kind of see rate and then what we can do about it. So the next one I want you to do is I want you to say yes or no to these. And we're not going to talk to our partner about it, but be ready to have an opinion. So question number 1, have you ever avoided sports or working out because you didn't want to be seen in workout clothes? Question 2, does eating even a small amount of food make you feel fat? Number 3, do you worry or obsess about your body not being that's supposed to be thin, small, or good enough? Number 4, are you concerned that you are not muscular or strong enough? 5, do you feel bad about yourself because you do not like your body? And the last question, do you compare yourself to others and usually feel negatively about yourself? Now, if you answered yes to a lot of these, you notice that the big problem is that they're very negative questions. And we have to understand what good and bad body image looks like. So right now, again in your notes, I want you to take a moment and I want you to create a list. Actually, 2 lists. 1, characteristics of negative body image. So what do these statements sound like? One would be, I never feel comfortable in my body. Then you're going to create the opposite list. And you're going to say things like, I feel comfortable and confident in my body. And from there, we're going to I'll go through and explain messages that we should work on having because the negative body images can lead to disorders such as anorexia and bulimia. Oops. So ignore that last slide. What I'm going to go over and what I want you to kind of jot down, because you've had this discussion already now with your classmates, is this. We have these negative comments and stuff like, I ignore signs that I'm hungry. So you're hungry, you have food, your stomach's growling and you choose not to eat. You ignore signs that you're full. So you overeat to the point that you maybe make yourself sick. You see yourself either too fat or too thin than what you're compared to. You feel ashamed of your body. You believe that other people are attracted, but you're not. You think that you're a failure because of what your body looks like. It doesn't matter what you eat, and your body doesn't compare to other people's bodies. All these are very, very negative. So if you didn't come up with this list, that's okay. You don't need to keep it. But what we need to come down to is what should we be doing? And we should have these positive I statements. So hopefully you've shared these already. And if you haven't, pause now. But here's some I statements that I do want you guys to write down and add. So characteristics of positive body image would be, I feel comfortable and confident in my body. And if you need to pause after each statement to write these down, go ahead or repeat them. The next one, I eat when I'm hungry. This one's really important because we shouldn't be uncomfortable. We should eat when our body wants us to. We should also know the difference between being thirsty and hungry, but we should still eat when our stomach is telling us to. I can stop eating when I'm full. This is something that we have to train ourselves to do, but when we do, we actually eat less when we realize we're no longer hungry. I appreciate my body's natural body shape. So, hey, I'm a mesomorph. That's okay. So I have a little bit more muscle. It's harder for me to lose weight, but this is the type of body I have. So by working out appropriately, I know I can appreciate what I have versus being jealous of someone who's going to be tall and thin and something I'm never going to be, which is okay. I know that a person's value is not measured by appearance. I see the parts of my body as they really are. I choose not to worry about food, calories, and weight. Remember, if you're in a healthy weight, you're exercising, you're getting your 60 minutes a day, and you're making good food choices, you shouldn't have to worry about this information. Okay. Next one, I eat healthy foods, so you make good choices. Next, I stay physically active in order to be healthy, so I take an active approach to taking care of my body. I take my time to eat, So you're not in a rush, you're not ashamed, you're not trying to hide, but you enjoy your food and the ability to have what you have. I respect people with a variety of body shapes and sizes. So just because people don't look like me and I don't look like them, that's okay. That's what makes us beautiful. Differences in each other makes each other beautiful. All right? We like being attracted to different things, and that's okay. But respect that other people are different. And then we're not going to all wear the same clothes because not everything looks good on everybody. And the last one is I have role models I respect regardless of their appearance. So when it comes down to it, we realize that what makes someone beautiful, what makes someone healthy is the decisions they make and the way they decide to portray themselves. And by doing so, that makes them a good role model. It's not the person who skips meals. It's not the person who works out 6 hours a day. It's the person who eats healthy, makes good decisions, and exercises. That's the end of this unit. Hopefully you have notes. Please write down any questions you might have for me at a later time.